Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hobart begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A 2015 geological report on Macquarie Point has raised concerns on the suitability of the site for a stadium. It describes the location as having poor geotechnical properties, but the government says that's all been factored into the planning.
Drilling into the details of a controversial project. Labor is concerned a fully enclosed stadium at Macquarie Point will be built on shaky ground.
The engineers that I've been speaking to just talk about how difficult it will be to build anything on this site, let alone a massive stadium with a roof.
Commissioned 8 years ago, the Douglas Partners report highlights several engineering challenges. Poor quality ground fill at the site would require any building above 3 stories have support piles to be drilled into the bedrock, which can be up to 18 metres.
The engineering just by itself is going to blow the $715 million out of the water. I think that the government really starts needing to be honest about this project.
But Premier Jeremy Rockcliffe says several geotechnical reports were taken into consideration in selecting the stadium site.
We've factored in all the challenges, and we've got contingency, of course, and I'm excited about the build.
Also calling for the opposition to be positive for a project he says will stimulate economic development.
We're not knockers and we're not blockers. And we get on with the job, and I'm very confident that we can build a stadium right at Macquarie Point.
Mark Zita, 7 Tasmania News.
Animal Liberation Tasmania is seeing red after one of the state's top greyhound trainers was cleared of cruelty allegations. The RSPCA says Anthony Bullock complied with regulations, but says it will be keeping a close eye on plans to tighten welfare laws.
Fury amongst animal advocates over a contentious report.
What the report actually does is highlights just how deficient the entire system around greyhound racing is.
In July this year, drone footage of Anthony Bullock's Exeter property triggered an animal welfare investigation. The Office of Racing Integrity and RSPCA inspecting his land over several days before deeming it broadly compliant with regulations.
Most of the dogs there were in conditions that were, well, if not good, certainly readily made compliant.
Multiple health conditions, including anemia, dental issues and hookworms, showing up in part 1 of their report. Ori stating a direction was given to Mr Bullock in regard to parasite control, his compliance now subject to ongoing monitoring.
Bullock set the standard. He was the top trainer, the top awarded trainer in the state. If that's the standard, anything goes.
The Office of Racing Integrity has such serious problems that no matter what comes out, the industry will struggle to have any confidence in it.
Bullock's licence will stay suspended while stewards explore allegations of animal parts being used as bait. Meanwhile, the state government is preparing to review its 2016 welfare regulations for dogs.
It's all about continuous improvement and having the highest possible animal welfare standards. I'm passionate about that.
We're going to go through these regulations with a fine-tooth comb. There are a number of areas where there are failings.
A draft is due for public consultation next year. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Hobart Sky came alive this afternoon with the sounds and skills of the Air Force Roulettes. The squadron visiting the city to help commemorate the Battle of Britain, also opening the hangar to the next generation of pilots.
A special group of pilots putting on a special show. High above the River Derwent, the Roulettes were up and away. The aerobatic flying team performing a dazzling display, showcasing their unique skills and techniques.
And we'll be doing a special venue show which involves loops, aerobatics, rolls overhead the water.
It's very, very different to have something that's able to do +8, -4G type stuff versus a big long-range maritime patrol aircraft.
The show tinged with respect for those who served before them. Their visit part of local Battle of Britain commemorations. The 1940 battle saw the Allied Air Force defeat the Germans, marking a turning point in World War II. 35 Australians took part, 10 never came home. Today's pilot's well aware of the sacrifices made.
Putting myself in that mindset of someone being 21 in 1940 in air defence of your country is a real strong sense of privilege.
Think about what they did, what they sacrificed. It still means a lot today.
For all the excitement this will generate, make no mistake, this is a delicate operation. Travelling at 600 kilometres per hour and battling 4 to 6 Gs, pilots will fly just 150 metres above the ground, with as little as 3 metres separating each plane. Every detail delicately planned and practiced.
We work hard to have effectively no thrills when we're flying, so I don't want to be surprised, I don't want to be shocked.
Today also a chance to inspire those looking to fly high. Local Air Force cadets given a tour of the Roulettes fleet.
I personally, I've seen them a couple of times, they're pretty cool. Do enjoy coming down and having a look at them.
I remember being here 20 years ago doing this exact type of stuff when the Roulettes came through and we got the opportunity to come down and have a look.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Ball kids are busy sharpening their skills for one of the biggest sporting events on Tasmania's calendar. The iconic Hobart International is returning to the courts in January, with tickets going on sale next week. The 29th tournament is promised to be a week of action-packed fun, drawing in some of the world's top talent and boosting economic activity.
We've had some of the greatest players of the game here in Tasmania. Serena Williams, Ash Barty's been here, the Australian Open champion, Arina Sabalenka, Naomi Osaka.
We're tapping into all of the great produce and suppliers of Tasmania, supporting the local community. We'll get the players out seeing the wonderful attractions.
The full lineup is due to be finalised within the next month. Firefighting volunteers have battled it out at a TFS Regional Fun Day in Ravenswood. The fun-filled event seeing junior and senior squads from the north and northwest putting their skills to the test.
Builds camaraderie between brigades and in this case across 2 regions, and all the activities simulate actions and skills that they'll be needed throughout the fire season.
Formerly an event only held in the northwest, this is the first time it's come to northern Tasmania. To local footy first, and the Devonport Football Club will move on to next week's NWFL Grand Final. Wynyard were only held to 1 goal in the match at Ulverston. The Pies will try for a 3rd premiership in a row against the Burnie Dockers. While Rochelle has taken out the NTFA Premier Division Grand Final in thrilling fashion, with a final quarter come-from-behind victory against Hillwood at Utah's Stadium. Motivated by a major milestone from Josh Holton.
The NTFA season comes down to this. Mother Nature was not going to make it easy for either Hillwood or Rochelle in this year's Grand Final. But it was the Sharks opening the proceedings in the first term. The wind, a notable factor in the match, with Hillwood dominating possession and the scoreboard early. Rochelle unable to escape the pressure in the second quarter. Possession attempts stifled by the Sharks. Josh Holton finally gave Tigers fans something to cheer about as the second quarter drew to a close, kicking Rochelle's first goal of the match. But down 5 goals at the break, it would be a big task for the Tigers to cut the deficit in the second half. Holton taking on the challenge, opening scoring with his 1,000th career goal, spurring a momentum change. Through solid kicking and defending, Rochelle took the lead while holding Hillwood to only 1 goal in the final term, completing the comeback to be NTFA Premier Division champions. In the Women's Grand Final, Old Launcestonians bagged their first flag after 4 attempts, defeating an unbeaten Bridge North by 16 points. Midfielder Jennifer Guy awarded the best on ground. Mark Zita, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, there's been a stunning upset in the SFL Grand Final with Cygnet storming home to defeat Huonville. Down by nearly 40 points in the second quarter, the Port kicked 13 of the last 14 goals to win the flag, denying the Lions an undefeated season.
Two bitter Huon Valley rivals had premiership glory in their sights. Huonville on top early, booting the first 4 goals.
He's going for the bend. Has he done it? I think he has.
Cygnet finally got on the board, but sharpshooter Daniel Archer was on fire for Huonville.
Jets a nice kick off the boot, I tell you what. Wow.
It was raining goals for Huonville in the wet as the margin continued growing.
No way, Walker! He's done it! Off the ground! Sensational one!
But the Port managed to find a spark, a trio of goals slashing the margin back to 23 points at half-time. When Mickey Paul goaled early in the third, Huonville looked to have stemmed the flow, but their foes had other ideas.
Short kick is on.
Not 15.
Clark, Cohen towards goal! Cohen!
4 straight goals putting Cygnet within a kick at the final break.
Has he got the accuracy?
He has! What a goal!
From 38 points down in the second term, the Port hit the front early in the final quarter.
Over the top, Bantic towards goal, they're in front!
Cygnet!
Mitchell Lister extended the lead before D'Artagnan Bantic sealed it.
Can he kick his third? He does!
Yes! Wowee!
A day to remember for the men from the Port.
Gets turned up and it doesn't matter. It's a Cygnet Footy Club premiership.
Player coach Thor Boscott taking home the Gorringe Martin medal for best on ground. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Devonport will have the chance to complete a historic treble after defeating Kingborough 2-1 to move through to the NPL Grand Final. They'll face South Hobart in the decider after defeating Glenorchy this morning. Jaden Fidera opened the scoring in the 17th minute before Bradley Lakaseljak sealed the result midway through the second half.
Waits for some support, deflecting the pass for Lakaseljak, surely a handball. Nothing doing. Flag stays down.
Valley Road will play host to the Grand Final next weekend. And Clarence has caused an upset in the WSL, winning a penalty shootout against South Hobart. Scoring started with a devastating own goal by the Zebras in the 12th minute. A clearance header going into the net. Undeterred, Clarence keeping up the fight to level the scores with only 9 minutes to spare in regulation time. The Zebras completed the comeback in a 4-3 penalty shootout. Elsewhere, the Devonport Strikers took down Launceston United in a convincing 5-2 win. The Northwest graduates have made a clean sweep of the hockey grand finals. The men's field hit the ground running, clinching the first 2 goals of the game. University made a cracking turnaround, evening out the scoreboard by the third quarter, but it wasn't enough. Northwest winning 3-2.
Well, if that's the goal that decides this grand final, what an outstanding goal.
Meanwhile, the women's team was tied with the Diamondbacks late in the game. Northwest came back roaring in the second half, up 2 goals when the final whistle blew.
First time touch there from Crowden, and that could be the sealer.
The club now the team to beat next season. The Jack Jumpers have played like there's no tomorrow in an NBL blitz against South East Melbourne on the Gold Coast. It's been a tight and tough match with both teams hot on each other's heels the entire time. Jack Jumpers in the lead by just 4 points a short time ago. We'll have the full details tomorrow. Tasmanian racing driver Campbell Logan has secured his first win in this year's Toyota 86 Racing Series. He clocked 19 minutes and 30 seconds in the second race at Sandown.
Campbell Logan holding on for a race victory here at the checkered flag and another frantic 86 adventure. Well done to him.
Logan had come close to the top position, winning second and third in Townsville.
Good evening. Well, those mild spring conditions didn't hang around for long. Today, Hobart 15, Launceston and Devonport 16, Burnie 17 degrees. The state's top friendly beaches with 20, the Islands and St Helens 17, Lowhead 15, Grove and Strawn both 14, Bushy Park 13, 12, the top four both Luncheon Hill and Marai Island 11 for Laiwini today. We can see clouds streaming over Tasmania from the west. However, there were a few breaks in the cloud over eastern parts of the state today. The satellite shows areas of cloud over Tasmania and southwestern WA, with patchy low-level cloud over northern Queensland, while the remainder of the country is mostly cloud-free. Tomorrow, a westerly airstream persists over Tasmania. A trough extends from WA across to SA and a ridge of high pressure lies over the remainder of the country. Westerly winds 20 to 30 knots, reaching up to 40 knots in the south. The west and south can expect west to southwesterly swells 5 to 7 metres, south to southwesterly swells in the east, reaching up to 5 metres offshore in the south. A severe weather warning has been issued for damaging winds for parts of the western, upper Derwent Valley and southeast districts. With that, there is a gale warning for Bank Strait and Franklin Sound, east of Flinders Island, the lower east coast and also between Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. Also in place is a strong wind warning for Storm Bay, the Channel, Central Plateau Lakes, the far north, west coast, central north coast, upper east coast and central west coast. A minor flood warning also exists for the Huon River. Tomorrow, Hobart mostly sunny, expecting 15. Similar conditions in Richmond, 17's the top there. A shower or two for Ooze with 15. Launceston partly cloudy with 17, partly cloudy in Devonport and 16, 14 and partly cloudy conditions in Deloraine. Burnie partly cloudy 15, showers for Strawn 14, winds easing and showery in Curry with 15 degrees. Cloud continues in St Helens with a top temp of 17, mostly sunny in Strawn 18, windy and possible showers in Whitemark with 15. Taking a look now to the 3-day forecast. Monday, fine apart from isolated showers about the west and a possible early shower in the north. Tuesday, showers about the north and west, increasing in the west during the evening, otherwise mainly fine. Wednesday, showers easing during the morning, then contracting to the west, far south and Bass Strait Islands in the evening, with snowfall lowering to 700 metres during the day, with possible small hail in the west. Taking a look now to the mainland tomorrow. Perth, mostly sunny with 20 degrees, also sunny in Darwin, Brisbane and Adelaide, partly cloudy conditions and 23 in Melbourne. And currently in Hobart, it's raining with 11 degrees. It's windy and 14 in Launceston and also windy and 14 in Devonport. Lou, that's all from me this evening.
Lovely, thanks for that, Kaya. And that's all your news for this Saturday evening. Thank you for joining us. We will see you tomorrow. Good night.